think we had about 15 people registered today. We've got a pretty good group. Feel free to turn your cameras on if you're able. If not, no worries. We'll just have a very informal conversation today, just another check-in. Want to see how you all are doing, what your biggest accomplishment is so far in 2026. And just want to have some time. We can see where the discussion goes. If you all have questions on specific things that you'd like to get answers from each other, or if you have questions on the current grants, the Kickstart and the Impact grants, we can also answer some of those questions. I've got some of the slides from the last session. If you weren't able to make it, we can certainly answer any questions you might have about the grants. With that, so I am Caitlin Coulterman. I'm I'm a quality places specialist, and I'm the current administrator for the KCE program. I also have with me here today Miranda Carpenter. She's another one of our quality places specialists. So I've got her name here on this slide. And we also have Sarah Bloom as our quality places director. She's not able to join us today. She has another meeting, but I will have her contact information on the last slide as well. She's very accessible and she's really helpful, and she can definitely answer any of these questions about these KCE grants if you're not able to get your questions answered today. So we'll jump into just our agenda. As I said, we'll have just a short welcome. Let's do group introductions. We can go around, we can popcorn, or I can call out people by their name, but just want to make this really informal so you all can get to know each other. And so if you want to go around, say your name, your KCE community, and what your current tier is. And then if you want to share a little bit about anything that your group has accomplished so far this year, or just anything that's on your mind or any questions you might have. It looks like Jill is the first one on my list. Would you like to kick us off with your introduction?
Yeah, sure. My name is Jill Rice, and I work for Topeka. Our KC community is the Highcrest neighborhood in Topeka, Kansas. Community of Excellence tier. This is our first year, so this is my very first meeting. This is our first everything. So we're new to this process. As a community, we've got a lot of things going on. We just had a Dry January celebration. So we invited people to participate in Dry January, and then at the end of the month, we did a mocktail mingle and trivia night where we had about 50 people attend, and so it was a great evening.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. Let's see, do you want to popcorn somebody, or I have Darcy next on my screen?
All right, Darcy Brooks. I'm from Lenora, Kansas. I work here at Next Tech. I am currently the president of our little Pride group. So I believe we're the community of growth, and just this year, we kind of set some goals and some strategic planning. So just trying to get our communities involved. We do host, several events throughout the year, but just trying to get that's the biggest thing I think with our group is getting the community involvement. So maybe looking for some ideas there. So as far as a top accomplishment, so far really haven't had any for 2026. So
Okay, no worries. We're pretty early in the year. Just want to see if there's anything that anybody wants to share. Next, I have Jesse on my screen.
Hi, I'm Jessie Hoig, and I'm from Toronto. We're an excellence community, and we had a great turnout for our last meeting, and we're started planning for our big summer event, and then we always have a 4th of July celebration, so it'll be a little bigger this year than usual with the 250th, and we or just kind of brainstorming some cleanup we can do before then also. So we were looking at the grant guidelines and seeing if there's something that could fit in there. So
Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing. Patsy, you're next.
Hello, everyone, and hi to Darcy. She's just down the road from us. So I am Patsy Maddie. We are Empower Norton, and we are a community of excellence. The first thing on our agenda this year, we started hosting our town hall meetings that was created by, I believe it was the city. Um, they're excellent meetings. They invite like the school district, the hospital, county commissioners, city council. We have Norton Corrections that comes, just a wide variety, and it's just an update on what's happening in the community. And we were a little slow getting this one planned, but people were starting to ask about it. So we know that they're curious and interested. The first meeting that they had, we had a huge crowd. It's kind of dwindled off, so we're trying to see if we can do some marketing better to try to increase that participation a little bit, and especially to our organizations, and see if we can't get them to come, and then they can take it back, the information, to their organizations and stuff. And so maybe with Darcy just down the road, maybe we can do some joint things among our groups. I don't know if that's a thing or if that would be something that we could help each other out on. I'm not sure what all the rules and guidelines are for that.
Yeah, definitely. If you all want to join together and do a project together or an event or whatever you want to do, yeah, I think that would be awesome. Especially with getting increased participation within, since you're so close together. Yeah, if you all want to put your heads together and see kind of what your audience is looking for in your areas. Yeah, I think that's awesome. This is what we want, more collaboration, more ideas from everyone. So we'll just sort
Lenore,
of, yeah.
I was just going to say Lenore is just a real small community, but I always think they're pretty mighty. They have a
Mhm.
lot of things going for them, and a lot of support. So, a little jealous of Lenore in that respect.
That's great. All right, Alana, you're next on my list.
Hello, I'm Elena Umholtz. I'm
Alina.
tourism coordinator with the Independence Chamber of Commerce. And our KCE tier is we are a community of excellence. And top accomplishments so far for 26, of course, it's early in the year, so nothing, top, but we are starting to plan and get geared up for our largest Pride and Beautification event of the year, and that is our Love Independence Day coming up in late April.
Awesome. And if you all haven't had a chance to follow Love Independence's Facebook page, I know they've got some really cool posts, I think from some stuff they did last year. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Let's see. Do we have two Jill Rices? Is that right? That's what.
Twice, showed up twice.
Okay, I apologize. I know I called you Jill, but
It's okay.
okay.
There's not two Jills, so I don't know what's going
Okay. All right. Jill Rice, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amy Kopasty.
Okay.
I'm new to Scent. I have worked here exactly a week. I am the new Senior Director of Development here at Scent. So really looking forward to knowing all of you and to working with you.
Great. Thank you, Amy. I'm glad to have you here and welcome to your new role. That's awesome. Let's see, we just have Laura next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Laura Musel with Blue Rapids Community Action Team. We are a community of excellence, and we have a sit-down Valentine's steak dinner coming up this Saturday. So that's been our project so far.
All right, and last but not least, Teresa.
Hi, I'm Teresa Kraus. I'm with Sylvia, Kansas. We applied to be a community of excellence this year, and our biggest thing so far this year is the soup supper we're having on the 15th because there was already a Valentine's thing on the 14th, a fundraiser for a family with cancer. So we're looking forward to that.
Great. All right, well, thank you everyone for going ahead and introducing yourselves. I guess I didn't have Miranda introduce herself. Would you like to, anything you'd like to add, or if you have any ideas on any of the questions anyone had?
Yeah, Miranda Carpenter, Quality Places Specialist. I administer the community service program tax credits for the state for about 24 more hours. This is my last 2 days with Commerce here today and tomorrow. So I am moving back into nonprofit work within my local community, and hopefully at some point I'll join these calls as a KCE community in my hometown when we get there. But I am happy to help and answer any questions along the way.
All right. So we've gotten through our introductions. So what questions do you all have? What do you want to hear from each other? I know we had a question about how do you get your community involved? How do you market better for your town halls that you might have? How do you get the word out? So I just kind of want to start a discussion if that's kind of where we want to go. Does anybody have any tips or tricks that they might want to share?
As far as our membership, we're trying to increase the number of people that are actively involved, which is difficult because it seems like those people that are the doers are always the doers and they're on everything, and they get kind of maxed out at some point. And so we tried it last year. We sent a letter to all of the different civic organizations within Norton, hoping that we could get at least one representative to come and attend our meeting so they could take the information back to their groups. It worked for a little while and then people dropped off. So I think we're going to try that again and see maybe if we can get a little bit more involvement from that. I'm not sure. We just don't know what we need to do to get more involvement. I know like the younger generation, they're more the doers. They want a goal, they want a task, they want to come, they want to do it, and then they want to be done. And so we're trying to look at maybe that, just like short time involvement. Uh, I don't know. Any ideas would be very helpful.
Yeah, definitely getting the young people involved. That can be really quite a struggle sometime. Oh, thank you, Mike. We did have two more people join. I think Mike Miller and Cindy Wegner. If you just want to, would you mind introducing yourself to everybody? Mike, if you're there.
Sure, I'm Mike Miller with Marshall County Partnership for Growth. That's our economic development department. I'm living in Blue Rapids, the same community that Laura Musil's in. And we're working hard on really strategic planning, looking down the road for sustainability purposes and having people actually state what their desires are for growth. And what you said about young people is certainly part of the conversation here. We want to find ways of better activating and engaging youth, both starting in high school and the people that are in their late 20s and 30s for activity within the civic dialogue and civic communities. So that's my background.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Cindy?
Cindy Wegner. I am a part of Empower Norton, work with Patsy. I also am on the board of Kansas Community Empowerment, representing Next Tech. Born and raised in Norton, Kansas, so that's pretty much my story.
Great. Thank you, Cindy. So thanks for joining, Mike and Cindy. We are just talking about ways that we can really get the community involved, how we can get the word out about town halls that are happening in our areas, how we can get young people involved, how we can get more people engaged, just kind of having a discussion and seeing what has worked and what hasn't for everyone.
I might add that we have a JAG-K program in Norton, and we have invited them to have one of their youth join our meeting so that we have youth voice as well, because they're the ones that see what's missing and what they would like to see in the community. So we're hoping that that will work out. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same youth, but that would be kind of a good thing for their resume builder and showing that they're getting involved with the community as well. They're kind of deep in their competition right now, their interview competition, etc. So hopefully within the next couple of months, we'll be able to get someone in our group.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Frame it as a resume builder, have them come in and say you need something to put on your resume. We've got some projects going on. You can volunteer, you can get involved, you can get leadership experience. That's a great idea, Patsy. Anyone else?
A way that Independence utilizes an opportunity to get our youth involved is we have under the umbrella of the chamber, we have an organization that's called Leadership Independence, and we have a First Leadership Independence, which involves high school students, and they go through these different sessions where they learn all sorts of different things about the community and how to be a leader. And at the end of their program, they have a project where they do an event, a fundraiser, and some of the projects that they do lead into that KCE Pride and Beautification. They hosted a golf tournament and then did donations of clothing and then donated that clothing to a clothing closet. And another one is they gathered funds to get like goalposts for soccer fields, which helped with that. So that's how we help to get our youth involved, is giving them a project, and then they pay that with that project, they pay it forward back into the community.
Very cool. Anyone else done anything similar? Do you all have 4-H clubs in your area that you could maybe partner with, get some volunteer hours?
We have partnered, this is Laura, partnered somewhat with 4-H, but our school also has a program that all of the seniors have to complete at least 20 hours of community service somewhere in their communities. And we currently have 2 students working through Blue Rapids Community Action Team. And it's really exciting to see the projects they come up with. Someone just mentioned a different tournament. We're having a pickleball tournament that they are putting together, publishing the flyers, lining it all out. And it's a great leadership program for them, and it also involves them in the community. So that's a real great program we have, I think.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I am curious if anybody is using the Network Kansas program. It's called, I think, Youth Activities Council. I think it's YAC. Anyway, that they are having competitive regional conferences. And I know several counties are involved in that. And it seems like I just don't know if we're competing for the same resources, trying to do the same things, improving communications and leadership and participation in the group of at least high school youth. So I think locally FFA is very active, but we don't participate in that other program. And JAG is active in Marysville, but not in our three smaller communities. So is anybody experiencing any of that? Um, I guess I'm talking about alignment.
It would be nice if there was a resource available that kind of had a listing of what everyone's doing. I know it's kind of impossible to do, but it would be nice to have a resource where you could go look and then see if you're duplicating services or not, or if you can tie into what's already in place, because it's always easier when you're not having to build it from scratch. Maybe you can just tag team on to something that's already there. But I don't know, I don't have a suggestion of where that resource would be or how it would be implemented or how it would be kept up to date. So I don't know that it's a good, I don't know. It would sure be nice, but I don't know how to get from point A to point B.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, there are
Mhm.
lots and lots of choices and opportunities at every different level of community engagement and development.
Has anyone else used Network Kansas, the Youth Activities Council, or any of the resources they offer? Oh, I might be frozen.
Haven't used it or seen it, but I did write it down, so it might be a resource we check into.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, check out the website. I know they've got just a lot of different resources to various grants, just anything that might be helpful all across Kansas. It's a great resource that connects healthcare providers, connects community development leaders, a lot of different awesome things that are offered there. Just bringing up the website. I can add it to the chat here for you all. Apologize, I think my internet connection is unstable. Okay, any other? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry about that. I think my internet froze for just a second. Can you all hear me? Okay, perfect. All right. Does anyone have any questions on the KCE grants? Have you all had a chance to look at the guidelines? I want to make sure that you all have any questions. We can get those answers as best that we can.
the grant?
I think Patsy and I have started looking at them and trying to determine what direction we want to go and with which projects. So, and I think we have until what, the end of this March to get them submitted, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Does anybody have any thoughts of like what they're considering applying for, or any projects that you have in mind that you're curious if it would fit within the grant or anything that way?
I I do have some ideas and then maybe some clarification on like if these would be fits for us. So our community has had a couple of really stable events that we've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years that bring a lot of people together. So we have our summer event. It's the weekend before the 4th of July. We've done a fireworks show and we bring resources together, and there's food trucks and car show and all of those things. We're transitioning that to a drone show for the first time ever, to be a little more eco-friendly and like PTSD and pet friendly and all of those things. Um, and so I just wanted to make sure that those kinds of events are what fits into those impact grants, if that's a good fit.
Yeah, Caitlin, can you go to the slide that details the requirements and things for the impact grants? Thank you. Um, so I would say for the impact grants, and Caitlin chime in, for these, we're wanting to see any sort of like permanent improvements, permanent art installations, benches in a park or park upgrades, things like that. An event would be a little bit harder to classify under this grant specifically because it's would be happening every year. If there was anything specific that you guys would be using, year after year for that event, like maybe any signage or anything that way, I think you could make that fit. But like paying for the drones or paying for anything specific to the one-time event would be a little bit harder to fit under this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really helpful. I
Yeah.
appreciate that clarity.
Mhm.
I guess I'm going to go ahead and ask. So on this impact grant, it has signage for communities. So one of our first projects when we reestablished as a group, Norton Pride at that time, was directional signage for our community. It came from a first impressions. People couldn't find the post office, the city office, etc. And so we put up directional signs. It's been, I think, almost 10 years ago, but they are in need of some repairs and some maintenance. So before we go to all the trouble to complete the grant for that purpose of refurbishing them so that they continue to stay nice, will that fit into this grant?
Yes. So we are looking for sustainable projects that are more long term. If it is, 10 years, at least a decade, wanting to get those signs replaced, I would say yes, that would qualify. Welcome signs, pole banners, wayfinding signs. Yes, definitely.
Yay. That's good to hear.
That
Because they're
I
very
was
nice.
just getting ready to ask that too, Patsy.
Well, we don't want to go to all the trouble of submitting something if it's not going to qualify. They're awesome signs. They've been very helpful for people coming into the community. They've worked. I mean, they've done their job and we don't want to lose them, but they're kind of rusting out. And so, we're hoping that we've been working on this for a year. And so, hopefully we can make it happen this year. So thanks for that information.
I have a question about the welcome signs part of it. So on the impact grant with the welcome signs, is it specifically for welcoming into the community signs, or could it be a welcoming sign into like a tourist attraction into your community?
I would say a tourist attraction would kind of qualify as a wayfinding sign.
Okay.
So I think that that would qualify. Yeah, definitely. Anything that improves your community's vitality, being able to find your tourists if they come in, so they can find that tourist attraction. I think definitely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
My question is not necessarily for this grant, but our biggest issue we are struggling with is we don't have a lot of funding right now, so there's no way we could do the one-on-one match or whatever. So my question is, and I haven't got a chance to look at all the grants, but are there grants out there where there's a zero match?
So you'll notice on here that we do include volunteer hours as that match.
Mhm.
So if you're able to provide
Especially
any
with the
sort.
Kickstart grant is 100% in kind, so that can all be volunteer hours. If you aren't able to contribute a cash match, that might be an option to look at that Kickstart grant.
Mhm. Yeah, so any of the, for instance, if you're painting park benches or, painting equipment at a park or something like that, if you can have your group do the painting, the labor part of it, and then use the grant to purchase the supplies or something like that. Any
Yes,
way that you
and
can incorporate volunteers is always great.
yeah, and the volunteer hours are valued at $28 an hour. That's the average wage for Topeka, Kansas. So
I have a question. I think we're applying for something else, but our LED sign on the highway that advertises events and so on is kind of aging out. Um, would that be something that would be allowed under this grant? Because I've noticed different grants specifically say you can't use it for that.
so it's an LED sign, and I'm sorry, it's pointing to what?
Sorry, my voice is kind of scratchy. It advertises events, a lighted
Okay.
sign. Maybe I'm not
And
using the
okay.
correct, um, that you can scroll across and tell people what's going on. And
Yeah. So that one might be a little stickier. We are kind of looking at, we want this grant to really be for long-term things. So if it is an event, I might have to check with Sarah on that, on what she thinks, because I would consider that to kind of be event advertising. Of course, if you used it over and over and over for different events, that might be a little different. So I will have to check on that one, but that's a great question.
sure, yeah, this is a independently standing, like you see at a bank, that they might have events that are going on. And it's there all the time, and we just switch the message to go
Okay.
with whatever's happening.
Okay. That's great information. I might just double check on that one, because I know wayfinding signs, anything like that. But just because that's kind of advertising an event, yes, we will double check on that one. We do have an info webinar on February 18th. So if you think of any questions that come out of today, you can definitely come and double check, if I don't have an answer for you, and I'll definitely follow up with you via email, Laura.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? All right. Well, if anybody thinks of any other questions, you can always email or call us anytime. Like I said, we will have the info webinar specifically for the KCE grants on February 18th. So if you have your questions, you can bring them. We'll have a presentation that's completely on what the grants are and what is eligible. You can get your information that way and ask your questions. We do have a training coming up on March 3rd. It will be led by Sarah and Kate from Kansas Commerce, Community Beautification and Strategic Planning. And we'll have another check-in in exactly 1 month on March 10th, same time, 12 to 1. It'll again be informal and just be kind of a time for you to check in. If you have questions, bring them. If you have awesome ideas that you want to share, definitely bring those. And with that, I know we're over the lunch hour. I know everybody is kind of giving up their lunch hour to come to this. We're really grateful to have you here and glad that you're able to connect and see each other. But with that, I'll just open it up. If there's any last minute questions, any last minute ideas that any of you have, want to hold space for that.
Cindy, I think you're muted still. Sorry.
Cindy, are
can't-
you talking to us?
Yeah, I can't hear you, Cindy, if you're talking to us.
Well,
There we go.
I
There we
thought
go.
I unmuted myself.
Perfect.
Are you sending out individual invitations for each one of these trainings and like the monthly so we can add them to our calendar as you send out the invites? Is that how this is going to happen?
Yeah, so the registration link for the check-ins is recurring. So if you register via the Zoom link, it should show up on your calendar for at least the next 4 months.
Okay.
I am sending them out in the newsletter every month, and we will make sure to do a better job of sending out reminders a couple of days before so we can all get you registered. Same with the trainings. They have been sent out in the newsletter, and we will send out a reminder for the one that's upcoming here pretty soon in March. So, and if you ever can't find any of that information, please feel free to reach out.
Okay, so I really need to use the newsletter as the resource, and you're off of that, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, the newsletter definitely has a good list of what's coming up. So I honestly typically go back and look at that. So I would make sure to bookmark that in your email.
Okay.
That's helpful. And if you think of any other ideas that are helpful, that would make more sense, just let us know.
Okay.
Right. Seeing no last minute questions, I'll let you all get back to your lunch. I want to make sure you all have our contact information, specifically the kdc.kce@ks.gov email. That one's always accessible by us here at Kansas Commerce. It's always checked. So make sure if you have a question, you can CC that email. And we've got Miranda and Sarah's information here as well. So with that, I'll let you all get back to your lunch. It was really great to see you here on this warm Tuesday day.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.